It's 18th January 2022. Time check 1:30 p.m. and it's time for Scam Alert segment. And today we're looking at a very controversial topic, and that's crowdfunding scams. I remember sometime in 2021 I talked about ways through which you can get funding for your business, and one of the methods uh, that I recommended was through crowdfunding. But crowdfunding can be done in different ways and for different purposes as well, not just for intending business owners who are looking to uh, get new investors to come support their business or to come buy into their businesses. You know, these days, online scams have become more sophisticated, but there's a domineering factor or a binding factor among all of these scams, and it involves the issue of trust. There's a common denominator, and it involves trust as well, because it requires a different level of trust for you to be able to buy into someone's idea or buy into getting funds for someone for a particular cause, due to the different scams that we see online these days. And whenever trust is involved, scams are present too. I tell you, the reason is even within your close knitted circle or your family as well, or you have an event coming up and you put someone in charge. Once you put that person in charge, the issue of trust becomes an issue to some people, no matter how trustworthy that person is. There are people who would always be skeptical of either if the person is going to be able to manage funds or if there will be misappropriation of funds as well. The issue of trust is always a common denominator when it comes to crowdfunding and scams as well. And one of the most recent trends in scamming involves crowdfunding. For those who are quite unaware, crowdfunding is simply a way for a group of people or persons to support a cause, a project, a person, or to fund a business idea that otherwise might not have tools or resources to raise the necessary funds they need to carry out whatever project or business idea that they have in mind. Also, there's many crowdfunding platforms that are out there, the likes of Kickstarter, GoFundMe, have afforded a lot of millions of people the opportunity to support their favorite cause, to support their favorite charity, to support victims of accidents, to support victims of maybe eviction, to support anyone perhaps going through immigration issues that would need money for their lawsuit, litigation, or whatever the case is. There's so many crowdfunding efforts out there, and platforms like Kickstarter and GoFundMe have afforded millions the opportunity to get this help, the required help that they need from members of the public. But unfortunately, unsuspecting victims of some of these scams may not be aware of some of the things they should look out for in case they're looking to support someone who might be in dire need, or and that's why a lot of people tend to fall victim to supporting people who have ulterior motives on some of these platforms. Yes, you see a lot of them. I've even had the privilege to follow through with some stories that have become very public, some stories that have even made headlines, not just in Nigeria but in the international community as well. There was this case of a young girl whom the mom kept grooming, telling her to keep acting like she was sick, she was confined to a wheelchair, and all that. And they kept getting funds from people. Turned out that there was nothing wrong with the girl. Turned out there was absolutely nothing wrong with the girl. So many crowdfunding scams as well. I also, when I came across this topic, I remembered a Nigerian web series that I saw last year. My name is AZ. I remember when his sister Balikis was kidnapped, they started a crowdfunding fundraiser to pay a ransom. Turned out that it was even a scam. And when people later found out, they were going hard at him. So, and things like that, it's actually a crime to swindle people off of their hard-earned money in hopes that they are supporting a good cause. Someone can decide to support their favorite band's new album if they need money to fund the album, an author's books, a friend's cancer treatment, a friend's kidney transplant. The list is endless because it has become a popular tool that has grown even more popular in the last few years. And unfortunately, scammers have taken note of the popularity of crowdfunding, and they're using it to their own advantage. The days of having getting handouts, begging loans from your wealthy relatives, friends, is fast becoming extinct. Because today, if you did a lot of money, whether it's to help you cover your expensive emergency, it could be health emergency, it could be educational emergency, or to fund your new business idea, you only need to appeal to a vast audience of the internet and wait for money to start rolling in. I've seen so many crowdfunding schemes. Actually, it happens a lot on Twitter. It happens a lot on Twitter, and the same way you have legitimate people, the same way you have people that are just on there to scam people. I don't know, I've mentioned the story of a young man during lockdown that came on board and said, oh, his girlfriend was pregnant and decided to have the baby. But I personally felt a different type of way, that if you do not have the resources, I see no reason why you should have children in the first place. You can decide to quote me wrong, but that's just my own opinion. And then some Nigerians decided to support them. Some sent out baby clothes, some sent money, and the list goes on and on. And it turned out it was just a scam. There was no child, no girlfriend, nothing. During lockdown, so many of them. There was another man that kept posting a picture of his son with an infection in the ear, and then people immediately started coming to his aid, donating to him. It only took a particular lady to bust this particular scam, and she came correct. She came all the way through. She came with receipts and showed details of the reason why people should stop funding that man's lies. But it was quite unfortunate because a lot of people had already sent out money. So crowdfunding platforms like likes of GoFundMe, Kickstarter, and Indiegogo are packed with eager would-be entrepreneurs as well, that need individuals that would support their cause. I know with issues like this, it makes it very difficult for the right people to get the much needed help that they really wanted as well. There was this story about David Liam. Although people were saying that the situation was different, that he never intentionally had the intention to scam people. But his case highlights the fact that whether a crowdfunding campaign seems sketchy or not, you need to critically look at any project you would like to donate to. It's important to critically look at it. So there are guidelines, and I like what some people are doing these days, that even if someone has a medical emergency, people would say, no, we're not donating to any family member's account. We want the account number of the person that is directly affected, so we know it's going into the person's account directly and not to some random family member's account number. Also, there are guidelines you could follow to prevent yourself from getting scammed. Avoid being a victim of crowdfunding scam. It's important to do your research in the sense that research the creator of the campaign. Does their name appear in other scams as well? How sure are you? So if you do not research, how do you plan to know? Are they claiming to do something that maybe seems too difficult as a solo project? For example, I might say, I want to fix my phone's screen, and perhaps I'm using a Samsung phone that the screen could cost probably, let's say, like 20,000 naira, and look at my income as well. So you measure it, you weigh it, that, oh, is this person actually doing something that is above them that they could not fund? So check it and look at that. Or perhaps it seems outside of their expertise. For example, I'm a journalist and I just wake up one morning and I say, oh, please, I need people to fund my my housing project, or I need people, yes, I need people to fund a housing project that I have to, train older women and all, or that might have the good intention. But before you decide to join it, look at it. Does it really match? What are my motives? Have I given a proper explanation as to why I want to embark on this project? These are the things that you should research. Or perhaps I could decide that, oh, I want to build a wellness center for young moms. I'm not a mom myself, but perhaps due to the struggle of the people around me, I've seen that, oh, moms sometimes they need time to unwind. They need like a close knitted community where they could come to relax for some time, take mind off doing so much for their family and take time for themselves, things like that. It sounds like a good idea. I could get people to support the initiative, but you as a donor, it's important that you research the reason and the motive behind this project I'm about to embark on. And that's why it's important that you have a means or a channel through which you can ask some of these questions before you decide to donate to any cause. So if anything you find kind of raises the red flag for you, or it's a bad sign, or just gives you the chills or makes you feel some type of way, it could be a sign that you should steer clear of that particular campaign and not let your money go down the drain. Because when it comes to donating, it's not just about giving that money. There's a lot of thought and emotion that goes into giving. There's a lot of thought and emotion that goes into giving. Even though a lot of people feel like, oh, you should just give because you want to give, there's a sense of satisfaction that comes with giving. Whether you agree with me or not, you could argue with me, it's fine. There's a sense of satisfaction and fulfillment that comes with giving, I tell you. Even some people get self-gratification off of it. Whatever the case is for you, it's fine for you. But if you decide to do a good cause, steer clear if you have a bad feeling about it. Also, ask yourself whether the project seems realistic. Yes, the internet is full of unrealistic projects, outlandish projects, out of this world projects, because there are several GoFundMe accounts that have been set up by individuals with the goal of fighting, let's say, Boko Haram, fighting banditry and things like that. And I'm thinking, okay, if you're deciding to fight bandits, what is the aim of you asking for this money? What would you like to do with the money? Is it like that you plan to buy equipment to donate to the army, or you plan to buy equipment? Like, what are you doing with that money if you come up with a project like as such, except if you're a superhero that would want to go into the forest or wherever their hideout is. So ask questions like this, and look at the goal of whatever project that person has decided to set up. Also, not only if the idea sounds a little bit too crazy or a little bit unrealistic or completely and entirely unrealistic, it could be a sign for you to steer clear. And it is okay, absolutely okay, to say no to crowdfunding campaigns or businesses that you have no clear understanding of, regardless of whoever is pitching that idea to you. Ask yourself if the project is realistic, because there are several of them out there looking for their quick payout. Lots of inventions or other business ideas could also sound incredible until you realize that they are only possible in fantasy land, in a world full of illusion. Pardon me. So, do not waste your money trying to get a business venture off of the ground until you can actually verify that it is actually legitimate. Also, don't let emotion get the better part of you. Like I said earlier, there's a lot of feelings and emotion that goes into giving. So when it comes to need-based donation, make sure you can verify the fruit of the claimed need. For example, someone might say, oh, my wife delivered triplets and was unable to foot the bill of the hospital. It's important that that person states whatever hospital the wife is at that moment. You could decide to call the hospital to confirm the identity and to know that, oh, your money is going into the right hand. So if you're looking at a charity campaign, pay your next step is not to make sure that emotion takes over. Make sure that emotion is out of the picture. Because a lot of these charity crowdfunding scams succeed by playing with people's heart, people's feelings, people's emotions as well. Also, take time to examine the story behind the crowdfunding. Does the story really make sense? Is the campaign based on pure logic? Does it really make sense? You can also take your caution one step further by contacting the campaign's creator and asking for verification of their cause. If they are genuinely in need as well as supplying you perhaps with the name of the doctors in charge, references. Also, if they sound quite hesitant to answer your questions, it might just be that you should just get out, opt out, and leave them to their own fate as well. Bottom line, crowdfunding is built on trust. Like I said earlier, it's the common denominator as well. So check the crowdfunding platform authorization, the license status. Ensure that the offering campaigns is clear and transparent as well, with detailed media kit statement, fund goals as well. And also, don't be fooled by the hype. Some of them become very smart in the sense that they target specific people such as influencers, perhaps on a particular social media platform, who would quickly run to their aid or champion the cause. Do not get fooled by things like that. We all like to support people and be a helping hand, but because a celebrity is posting about something doesn't mean that it is legitimate. I remember last year, the lady told the story of a woman that used to beg with some children around Beggar area, and she saw them, she started to help them. Turns out that the woman belongs to a begging ring. They have like a ring, and they have like someone that they remit money to at the end of the day, and she comes there every day with those kids. And they said they decided to get her a phone, get her a place to stay, and all. Turned out that she never went to that house for not even a single day. And unfortunately for her, they saw her in another part of Lagos begging with those same children. And when they apprehended her, she had to come clean that, oh, she has a boss that she always remits money to. So if we're out there trying to do some of these things, let us be smart about our decisions. And because a celebrity posted about it doesn't mean that it is legitimate. There are people like you and myself. So let's go out there with a discerning spirit, but with an open and clear heart towards people. More to come for you on the Afternoon Business Show. Remember, we take office talk soon on your number one business radio.